Hey, okay. So Dr. Jamila Banks and I had some major technical difficulties today, uh, going live on our Instagram. She subsequently went live on her Facebook page, and I am going to go ahead and do the questions and answers on my end, as she has done on her end. And we're going to keep moving forward regardless, right? This is perseverance. Even when it feels crazy and it's annoying, we still press forward. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question and the answer and provide you all with some tools that you can place in your mental health toolbox to resort back to whenever you need them. So here's the first question. I'm halfway through the year, but feel like I haven't made much progress towards my goals. How can I reset without feeling like I failed? First and foremost, you need to understand that it is completely normal to reassess your direction mid year. Feeling behind doesn't mean you failed, it often means you've grown, and now your goals may need refining. Progress isn't always linear, and part of the resilient mindset is recognizing when to pivot instead of pushing through something that no longer aligns with you. I think that when you step back and you understand that you set some goals on January 1st or whenever, January, you set some goals and you haven't reached those goals yet. I think it's important to take a deep breath and step back and look at how far you have come, right? You may not have reached that particular goal, but I'm going to step out on a limb here and suggest that if you were sincere about reaching whatever those goals were, you have made progress, right? So the mental health tip or the mindset tip here is um, the reset and reframe journal prompts. This all will be included in the comment so you can refer back to the prompts here. But here's 3 prompts. Write about what goals still matter to you and why. That's 1. 2, what changed in your life or mindset since January? And 3, one small step you can take this week toward realignment. These tools foster clarity and self compassion while re engaging your motivation. So remember, even though you're halfway through the year, you are not behind on your goals, you have not failed on your goals. Take a look at how far you actually have come and maybe just take a step back and answer these 3 prompts. Question 2. How can I stop comparing myself to others when everyone seems so much further ahead? Yikes, right? Comparison is a trap that disconnects you from your own journey. I'm going to repeat that. Comparison is a trap that disconnects you from your own journey. Often, we compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlighted reels. The antidote is awareness and intention, shifting focus from them back to you and what you value. Your path is unique, and fulfillment comes when you define success on your own terms. I think that's so important to remember, that just because you see someone achieving something or, seemingly ahead, you have absolutely no idea where they're actually at in their journey. You have absolutely no idea what they've had to overcome or, go through to get to where they're at. So instead of looking at someone else's journey and comparing yours to theirs, take a step back once again and look at how far you have come. Applaud yourself for how far you have come, right? And take a deep breath, because you cannot, or you should not, I shouldn't say you cannot because you can, but you should not look at someone else's life or reel, right, and think that you're supposed to be competing with them. The only person that you are actually competing with is yourself. So remind yourself of that. Every single day that you wake up, the competition is within. Okay? The mindset tool, shift to self practice. Each time you catch yourself comparing, pause and ask. Here are three things you can pause and ask yourself. What specifically am I admiring in this person? What is this showing me about what I want or value? Or three, what's one small action I can take for myself today? These simple 3-step tools turn envy into insight. Again, competition is within every single morning. Just because you see someone out there going ahead or what you perceive going ahead and, succeeding and all that good stuff, nope. Focus back within. Okay? Question 3. I often procrastinate even when I know something is good for me. How can I break this cycle? This is a good one. I like this one, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Procrastination is usually a form of emotional avoidance, not laziness. It often stems from fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, or just simple discomfort. The key isn't forcing productivity, but understanding the emotional blocks and creating compassionate structures to move through them. I like this question because I remember when I was writing my book, Woven in the Wake of Grief, and it seemingly took me a very long time to write it and to get through it. And I did find myself procrastinating. I would say, okay, I'm going to write for 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day or whatever. And I would procrastinate. And then I sat down one day and I was like, what's stopping you, Frankie? What is causing you to pause and not follow through? And the truth of the matter was, I was experiencing fear of success. Fear of success that once the book was finished, it's going to go out there and it's going to succeed, right? And then the responsibilities that come with that. And I was fearing judgment. I was fearing what people would say to me about the book and, whether they liked it or whether they didn't like it. And I had all these preconceived notions about this book. And so I would procrastinate on writing. So the tool that I'm going to give you here in a second is one that I actually did use, and I stuck to it to where I was able to finish the book. We'll talk more about that. The tool is here, a 5-minute momentum rule. Tell yourself, I'll just do 5 minutes. Set a timer and begin. Often, starting reduces resistance and builds momentum. Over time, this practice retrains your brain to trust action over avoidance. This tool works because it's rooted in behavioral activation and reduces the fear response associated with starting. And although I said that I had started and I stopped and I started and I stopped, this tool right here is something that I did hold true to. Every single day, and this is how it worked. Every single day, I would carve out at least 5 minutes. I would sit in front of my laptop. Sometimes I would just stare at it. Sometimes I'd write a word. Sometimes I'd write a paragraph. Sometimes I would just write a sentence. Sometimes I didn't write at all, right? And sometimes I actually started flowing and it went well past the 5-minute mark. The point of this tool is to rewire your brain. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to sit down here and I'm just going to write a chapter, or I'm just going to do this for, whatever it is that you're working on. I'm just going to do this for whatever, right? I'm just going to sit down here and I'm going to get it done. Schedule at least 5 minutes each day. Even if you don't do anything towards that, whatever particular goal or project that you're working on, over time, the more that you purposely schedule time for it, with no distractions, with no, interference and that kind of stuff. I'm telling you right now, if you stick to it, over time, you will rewire your brain to achieve whatever it is that you have set out to achieve, if that makes sense to you. Okay? And then the final question is, how can I stay mentally strong when life feels uncertain or out of control? Whew. Loaded question, because I think that in our society right now, it is a lot. But here's the response. Uncertainty is a given in life, but feeling grounded is a skill that can be cultivated, right? Mental strength doesn't mean ignoring difficulty. It means facing it with tools, support, and a flexible mindset. What matters most is where you place your focus on what you can influence, right? You place that focus. Like, for example, the news, right? While it's important to know what's going on in the world, absolutely it's important, you may wish not to spend a large amount of time watching the news, because as you're watching the news or you're digesting all of this negativity and negativity and negativity, and I think a lot of people don't understand that that actually lands within you and it stays within you and it feeds off of you and you feed off of it. So here's the tool: the control circle. Draw 2 circles. So you're going to draw 2 circles. There's one, and then in the middle, 2. Inner circle, things within your control, your response, your boundaries, your actions, right? Because how we respond and what boundaries we have set and our reactions to the things that are going on around us will dictate how we maneuver through all of the uncertainty that's going on in our lives and around us. The outer circle, things outside your control, other people's opinion, timing, outcomes, right? So you have on the inner circle things that you can control, and the outer circle things that you cannot control. Spend time daily choosing one thing from the inner circle to act on. This reinforces a sense of agency and calm. And again, it's about what we actually have control over. I personally, I have no control over a lot of things. But when I see things on the news that upset me, I have to remind myself I have no control over it. The only control that I have is over how I choose to respond to it and react to it. I have no control over how other people talk to me, treat me, and that kind of stuff, right? But I do have control over the boundaries that I set. So, and how I respond to them. So just remind yourself, the outer circle, things you have no control over, the inner circle, the things that you absolutely have control over, and spend time every single day choosing one thing from that inner circle to act on. So again, if it's boundaries or your actions or your response, whatever it is, focus in on that and how you respond, how you set boundaries, and what was the other one? I'm sorry, and your actions towards what you have taken in or digested. Okay, so those were the 4 questions that Dr. Banks and I received for this Mindset Monday. And like I said, all this information that was shared by not just myself, but by Dr. Banks on her end, will be available in the comments. As always, please, please, please share and like our videos. Follow us, and if you have any questions that you would like for us to address on our lives, please do not hesitate to inbox either Dr. Banks or myself with those questions. It is completely anonymous. We will not call you out on your question, so just please keep all of that in mind. But we thank you from the bottom of our heart for your continued support and encouragement as we continue this project that we started a while ago. I'm not even sure when we actually started this, but we thank you so much for your continued support and encouragement. Until next Monday, take care. Bye-bye.